moment, and when the big moment comes, he usually performs. And today, again, it's some of the best I've seen him play the last couple of games. We obviously didn't have him at CSK this year. I think that hurt him a little bit, so he's really motivated to show that he's still got the talent and still got the desire to perform at the top level. So I've seen a really motivated Dwayne Bravo the last 10 days we've been around, and that performance today was winding back the clock. He'd be offended by that because he lacks sometimes opportunity with the bat, but he's still showing that he's a world-class player and a world-class competitor, which is just as important. Hi, mate.
The organizers have talked a lot about wanting the quality of this league to be up there. They went after as many big names as they could get. What's your sense of the big names that they did get, and your sense of the quality of the play so far?
Yeah, really good names. Is high quality players through each team. There's 6 quality international players that are mixing with the local players, so I think it's a nice blend. The caliber is high. Bravo proved that today, and some of the performances by the international players have justified the billing. It's also good to see some performances from the US players, and that's going to be a key factor for the tournament. If a couple of the US players can contribute and do a good job in between the splattering of internationals, then you'll go close to winning it. So that's certainly what we're looking to do. But yeah, I think so far the conditions have been really good. We were a little bit anxious about what we were going to play on, which can determine a good game or a scrappy game. And when you get good conditions, it's up to the players to perform. And today was a little bit scrappy, but still came pretty close. So in terms of a close game of cricket, it was okay.
With the conditions, the heat, the way it is in Texas, it's world famous for its heat.
Yeah.
How does it compare to what you all experience in the other summer on the other side of the world?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit cooler than Chennai, which is nice. The players are conditioned now to being uncomfortable, and this is quite a dry heat. A lot of places throughout India it's quite humid, which is a challenge because of the perspiration and the moisture that's involved. So the players are just getting on with it. It is what it is. The afternoon games can be a challenge, but they're part of the challenges of winning tournaments.
Stephen, Peter Delapeno with
Hey, Peter.
This is more of a big picture question. You were captain of New Zealand in 2004 when you played USA in the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, I missed out. Hit one to cover, I think, for a little score, yeah.
You were one of the people that missed out that day, Nathan Esselin.
Yeah, he did. He's my housemate, yeah.
19 years ago, thinking about that day and what you experienced against USA on that occasion and town level and just the standard compared to what you've experienced 19 years later here in Texas, whether that's broadly in the event or specifically with U.S. players in your squad like Simon Kamal. I know he hasn't taken the field in the 11, but just being around in the squad.
Yeah.
What stands out to you about where U.S. cricket culture has come from 19 years later from when you first experienced?
Probably an opportunity missed, if I was being honest. If you look back and the ability to play the World Cup and get experience there, nothing's really changed. It's sort of treading water, missed out on qualifying in this tournament. I think all players want to see the US go well. I think there's a real desire to get the United States on the map. There's an appetite for it from the cricket hierarchy, and we see the success that franchise sports has in this country. So there's a desire to make it work, and if it works, then it's going to be a benefit for US cricket. You have some of the greats rubbing shoulders with young players. That's got to help. Facilities is probably the key thing. The lack of facilities, if you think over 19 years, is still very shallow. So improving facilities and giving an opportunity to these players to develop. This will help. There's backing from big franchises. There's backing from big players. So this 4 weeks is really important to hopefully kickstart something. Still going to take a little bit of infrastructure polish up to get it right, but I would like to think it's going to help. It's got to be positive, surely.
But in particular, I guess like somebody like Sai or Rusty Toronto, I know Rusty came
Yep.
from South Africa, but Sai is a locally developed guy born and raised in New Jersey.
Yep.
Compared to that 2014, which was really old guys
Sure.
past their prime. Some of the younger talent you've been exposed to, I mean, what do you see now that gives you changes your perspective in any way?
Well, just opportunity if Sai plays or not. Sai's around, and he's batting with Faf du Plessis, David Miller, Devon Conway. We're doing work with some of the coaches that we've got. It's really important. They need heroes as well, so there needs to be heroes coming from within. So if he can be that guy, or Ali Khan, you just need to develop heroes on a bigger stage. It goes without notice, really, some of the Houston Opens and the tournaments that they play, and they're a little bit hit and miss when they're on and when they're not. So if you can get a little bit more of a format that appeals, then hopefully you can generate the next crop of players that will come through. If Sai's the guy that leads that, great, but getting more athletes to play the game would be the first challenge. And then from there, hopefully you get some athletes from other sports who like the game, like what's happening over the next month, and then I think you can go places.
Last one.
Nate Hayes, Emerging Cricket.
Hey.
Hey, you guys, have, from my point of view, have done a pretty good job of obviously taking advantage of the fact that this is kind of your home ground. And that started at the draft, when you guys had a very good contingent of people there cheering on the players as they got drafted. How good of a job do you think TSK has done in that regard, connecting to the local fan groups, and how advantageous do you feel it is playing here kind of at home?
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage, and if it's not realised, this in this tournament will be in years moving forward, because we have a facility, and I think you can't underestimate that. This is great. It will grow. There'll be practice facilities around, so we'll be able to use that and make the most of it. Other areas probably challenged or time challenged as to what they want to do, but to have this in our backyard is really important. So the challenge is to make the most of it this year. The first night, the guys were eyes wide open. It was fantastic, and even today in a hot afternoon, it's great. But we've got to perform and do well in this tournament to warrant it and earn it. But it's right there for us to take. Yeah, it's real good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Go back to back. So, you guys good?
Hi, this is from American College Cricket. Talking about bowling in the modern game, about 7 years ago I spent some time with Dale Steyn in the Sunrisers as a net bowler. And he told me the world's best bowlers are the most boring bowlers. They know how to bowl at one spot throughout the day. But seeing that over the last 7 years the world has adapted to T20 cricket rather than Test and ODI cricket, how important are variations when a young bowler is trying to become a bowler, a medium pacer, or a fast bowler at a big stage?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's so much different to Test cricket when you just want to hit the same spot about the size of that for the whole day. So I think the best T20 bowlers at the moment, they've just got so many change-ups, and they're really unpredictable. Even if they've got their field set and you might sort of know what they're going to bowl, some of the better bowlers, they bluff you and can sometimes change their plans and really mess with your head as a batter. So I think change-ups in T20 are massive. If you come in and bowl the same thing and be too predictable, then I think you can get away with scoring pretty freely. But bowlers with the more change-ups, I think, are the toughest to face.
Hey Matt, Charlotte from His College Cricket. Obviously you were a late addition to the Freedom squad. We were just curious, how difficult was it for you to kind of adapt to the conditions, and I guess just get settled in the US and in this tournament?
Yeah, it's been bloody hard. I think obviously it's been unfortunate for Josh Philippi to do his ankle, but awesome to have the opportunity to come over here. I think I landed at 2:30 p.m. just before the first game on Friday night, so that was a bit of a struggle. But I think it's been pretty tough. I think my last game was a couple of months ago, and I've been indoors in Melbourne because of the weather. So I think being able to just get straight back out on turf and into a game and into some high intensity matches, I think has been pretty tough. But it just shows that if you've got nice conditions and just back yourself, I think you can get away with the preparation that I've had, and hopefully that can continue.
Nate Hayes, Emerging Cricket. Sora, that's a on your team. Left our medium fast bowler, has been performing pretty well. Is this your first introduction to Sora? And also, do you have any other impressions about any of our domestics that stick out to you?
Yeah, I think It's the first time I've met him a couple of days ago, and to come up against some quality international batters today in Faf and Devon Conway, I think he bowled really well. To bowl 3 overs in the power play is a huge credit to him. But yeah, the talent I've seen, it's awesome. We've got a lot of South African guys that are locals over here now, and even some of the other guys that aren't actually getting a game at the moment. I know the competition's pretty hard for spots, so I think the more they can get exposed to matches like this and competitions like this, it's going to be always going to be better for them, and hopefully we can see them grow over the next couple of years.
Saturdays with the Associated Press. Other than money, why did you decide to come over here and do this?
I think my biggest sort of, motivation is to play cricket for Australia, and I think my last couple of summers there have been predominantly, I think I've been doing a lot better in the white ball kind of thing. So while it's our off season over in Melbourne or in Australia, I think I was trying to get as much exposure as I could over in overseas or whatever comp that could be. So I was lucky enough to head over to IPL in India, and I have the 100 after this as well. So it's just nice to, put myself up against some quality opposition and see if I can, fit in internationally against some quality players.
And so what do you think about the ball you've seen so far?
It's been top class. There's some bloody good players out there. Especially with the IPL owning some of the franchises here, I think they bring across some international players, which is going to be a challenge. And obviously, I think as the tournament gets on and the next couple of years, I think it's important that we get these players here and to really bring up the local guys here as well.
That's good.
Hayes again. Your bowling seems to have an answer for everybody, even on paper and in practice. It seems the last 2 games. Do you feel like that's kind of the biggest strength of the team, or do you feel like something else?
No, you're right. I think as a team, I think we look better on paper as a bowling unit. With the 2 South African quicks up front that can swing the ball and bowl fast. But yeah, it's our spinners as well that are doing a job and keeping the run rate down and taking wickets. So, and even Glenn Phillips bowled today. So we've got plenty of options for Moses to, and that's another one. Even Moses bring himself on. So there's plenty of options there. So yeah, I think you're right in saying we're probably go a bit deep with the bowling.
Real quickly, how do you think difficult or easy will it be for this sport to get a foothold in this country?
I think the talent that's here now, and I guess the exposure that it's having, I think it's really going to take off. I think the players can back that. The players that love being over here and having another opportunity to play against some quality players. And personally, I think it's really going to take off.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.